that is showing live. But there doesn't seem to be any way to like. Okay, so I guess that is technically that means I am live. Gotcha. Okay, I am beginning to understand. Um, then the question is, monitor, analytics, monitor incoming chat messages. That's not really what I'm looking for. Is there some better way of looking at what's going on would be the big question. Let me go here on YouTube at least. Oh, that's showing offline. That's strange. Why is it showing as... see, that's showing live. Has some connection. Okay, that is... Maybe just take a minute. Fair. Okay, yeah, got a thing there. Cool. Let me pause that. Okay, that seems fairly reasonable. We'll see if that works. I'll keep up the chat here. I don't see a way. Stream with OBS Mix. Ah, okay. Why isn't... That's odd. Yeah, okay. Online on both sides. And I can see chat there, presumably. Okay. So I should pause this if I can, but it doesn't want to allow me to. Hey, Matt. Good to see ya. I'm still fiddling with settings here. Let me know, how is the sort of video here? I'm just kind of playing around. Yeah, Restream's being a little weird. Buffering? Okay, thanks, Diatlas. Yeah, I'm getting... Maybe if I close that, and let me close this over here. Why is that? No, I don't want that. I can't... That's weird. It's showing me a... something else. You can expect... Okay, fair enough. I want to be able to not view that thing, but it won't let me turn it off, which is really annoying. Go to live with Restream. That's all fine, but I'd rather not see that. That's weird. Ooh, that's an odd thing. Hold on, that's actually me. I'm having an issue. Sound is only on one side of the earphone. Interesting. Okay, good to know. Thank you, Matt. That could be... Oh, yeah. Look at that. Hold on. That looks like a fundamental audio issue on my side. I will play around with that. Microphone. Oh, actually, no, we want that. Device properties. I think there's a way to force that down. That should be. Huh. I am seeing that, Matt. While I'm playing around with that, how are you all doing tonight? What's new? What's life like? I'm getting some weird internet issues. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I'm on the wired connection. I wonder if it's just a weird thing with Restream. I do wish I could stop that. The Thief and the Cobbler. I have not. Let me see. The Thief and the Cobbler. Have I seen that? It sounds familiar. I have not. I've heard of it. This is the legendary cartoon, like animated film. It took like forever to make, correct? Or it was like a lost film? Hey, Kenshin. Good to see you. Yeah, no way of disabling that. that should be event. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Settings. Oh, I don't want to quit event. Here. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. No more Nana Biori. Well, we did get multiple seasons of that. I think that's kind of that's. I do feel like we've gotten a fair amount at least. I certainly hear your sadness there. Yeah, Thief and the Cobbler definitely an odd art style. Like not bad, just very distinctive. Very distinctive. That's odd. Yeah, there's something weird going there. I wonder if I'm gonna try something real quick, see if that helps at all. On Biori. A couple episodes into this and have not seen enough of it. In fairness, right? It's one of those things where I'm like, I would love to see more Nana Biori. Yes, I finally watched all of Evangelion TV. I mean, not the rebuild films. That'll come soon. I'm not seeing an announcement that there's no more Nana Biori. Where did you see that, Matt? Curious. So I got all the way through the TV series. I've not seen the movies. I've seen Rebuild 1 and 2. Definitely glad I went back and watched it. It being a classic and there being quite a bit to it that you wouldn't necessarily otherwise know without having seen that. A lot of kind of subtleties and details. Like I'm glad I had. Like I don't think I needed to see it to be able to like comment on it, right? Like, I understood who Asuka was, who Rei was, but that was fine. Yeah, there's seeing it all the way through to the end and seeing how the end kind of builds, how the final third or so builds that ending, or doesn't build depending on your views. Definitely helps understand people's views on it, people's frustrations with how it ends and where it went. I think that's definitely helpful. The rebuild films, which for what it's worth, I said this on the weekly dig. I do believe that Anno is kind of done. From that perspective, I think Anno is kind of like, okay, I'm good. I don't need, I don't need to do anything more. Certainly for a while. Here's microphone audio. Again, just checking to see if there's anything else I can do on the microphone. If I recall, the last time I had this, there was something I did to change the layout, change the audio on this. Oh, this might be it. Active, track, sync offset, monitor off. There was something I could do to like force the microphone to mono. Oh, there it is. Close. See if it does anything. Is that better on the microphone? Hey, Spin. Good to see you. Welcome. Certainly the animation is great. So yeah, going back to the thing. Sorry, I got distracted there. I think that Anno is kind of done. I think he's kind of happy with what the story he's told, and what he's done so far. He might come back to it, 20, 30 years from now. But I think he's kind of like, okay, I've said what I need to say now on Evangelion. I would be curious to see other creators take on it. Have sort of a Gundam thing where other directors come in and have their own take on the EVA universe. I think would be pretty awesome. But obviously not there just not gonna happen anytime soon, I don't think. And I do believe Anno would let other creators, play around in that universe. Yeah, I hear that, Kenshin. And I do think the show does. So I've heard folks say that episodes 25 and 26 come out of nowhere, and I think that's unfair. I think there are hints that there's going to be a more psychological ending. I do agree that it's abrupt, that it's surprising that the ending doesn't have that big apocalyptic ending. I totally agree and get that. It feels like it kind of is a surprise, but I don't think it's completely shocking, at least. So that's good to be aware of. But like I said, it totally does make sense that folks would be surprised and disappointed. On the other hand, it's basically what Ideon did. That they're very much following the Ideon model in that, intentionally or otherwise. I don't think they meant to, but I think when they were presented with that situation of the Shinrikyo attack and not being able to tell the exact same story they did, they were like, well, let's pull an Ideon, where the ending is just kind of a non-ending, if you will. So, that's one of those things. It's also weird. I do wonder, like, how the audience in Japan reacted. Like, I know they weren't thrilled, but I wonder how many over there connected that back to Ideon, connected that back to earlier anime that did those sorts of weird things, that had those abrupt endings. Zambot 3, famously very shocking ending. Heck, Zeta Gundam, I don't think anyone was expecting that ending out of Tomino, even at that point, even after everything else going on. That's good to hear, Vader. Yeah, Future Boy Conan, I was very impressed by it. I've not actually finished it. I got, again, like, half a dozen episodes in, and the story does kind of, doesn't start to drag, but it becomes less exciting at that point. It kind of settles into a pattern. But yeah, definitely fine. Definitely good to see Future Boy Conan coming to, and on Blu-ray. I think it will definitely benefit from the Blu-ray treatment, because there's a lot kind of. The thing is, a lot of that early, Miyazaki Takahata stuff is technically fairly straightforward in terms of just kind of the general, animation approach. Like, they're not doing crazy things with special effects, but there's craft to, like, facial expression and so forth. Even seeing, like, characters' faces in the background, they think through those facial expressions, so it'll very much benefit from that. And then just kind of the craft of the mecha, the mechanical things where you can see how things work, I think will be really, really cool. And I'm trying to remember, what's the MSRP on that? Oof. Okay, hold on. That is clearly, that's the Japanese Blu-ray box, because it's $200. I assume that's the Japanese box. There's the Collider thing. Looking up the thing, available for pre-order now. $45. That's a great price. $45 for, was it 25 episodes? Looks like it, 13 hours. Dang. Couple bucks an episode? Like, what, $2 an episode? Yeah. It's great, and very much a prototypical Miyazaki story. Like, this is basically Castle in the Sky beta. And sort of a Nadia beta as well, speaking of. For those who don't know, Nadia was conceived by Hayao Miyazaki, the thing he was going to make, and then he kind of dropped out, and it was moved over to Gainax. Gainax sort of took it over. I had not heard that, Kenshin, the Master Roshi controversy. Yeah, I don't know about. I honestly don't know how over or underrated series are. Frankly, because I just don't follow kind of who's screaming about what in any given point. I do think Evangelion is one of those series that that inspires very hot or cold reactions, kind of like Lane actually, where you have a big deal about people love Evangelion and other folks just don't get it, and it's fair. Like Evangelion is not for everybody, and so I think for a lot of folks it just doesn't work for them, and as a result, that causes some confusion over why it's so big. But I think Evangelion speaks a lot to people at a certain age, particularly. Folks really identify with Shinji. They identify with kind of the things going on in that show. They identify with just kind of the art style and the approach. They're the very psychological kind of situations the characters are in, and so I think it kind of does that. But yeah, it's weird. It is definitely held in extremely high regard, and granted, like it's very, the technical skill of its the direction and the editing and so forth is very, very high. Like obviously it is very well made from the perspective of those things. It just has its issues with various things. I'm gonna try refreshing something real quick. Hopefully it won't kill anything. I'm gonna find out. Can I still see the chat? Is the question? No. Okay, so that kills chat. Good to know. You're still here. I just missed any chat that may have come in the last like 5 seconds as I refreshed. I can't stop this one thing that is kind of chewing up my bandwidth. But oh well. Yeah. And it's hard, right? Yeah, who can tell? And Eva came in at just the right time, too, to that point, Spin to Win, where I think Eva hit, obviously, the Japanese audience at a time when it really spoke to the ennui of the 90s, and just kind of what otaku were looking for at the time. And then in America, it came over right during the big surge of folks looking for darker, more serious anime, and it wasn't, let's be honest, hentai. So it's a big deal, but I can see why folks are like, why is this so popular? It was. It's kind of like Titanic. Why was that super popular? You can point to certain elements, but it's just a thing. Right place, right time. Like a lot of things. I'm kind of surprised Girls in Panzer did as well as it did. Draw an odd analogy. But Girls in Panzer is a very funky concept. And it hit just right. And obviously Girls in Panzer is not the most massive franchise ever, but it was definitely a success. And I think they balanced a lot of factors right, but it was just the right thing, right time, hardcore moe otaku stuff and hardcore military otaku stuff, and those two people, those two fandoms, got it. They were up for that, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and granted, one of the issues there is that it's not like most otaku were buying hentai. Most people don't actually buy that stuff. It's that it was being pushed so hard, and it was kind of the face of anime for a lot of people, And honestly, that was the stuff that was often most visible at like adult shops and VHS stores and so forth. People would see, oh my gosh, cartoon porn, and so whatever. It became a thing. Yeah, the character designs in the movies definitely doing it, especially the rebuild movies. They definitely retooled those character designs, made them a little less 90s, a little more streamlined and clean, I think, relative to the 90s version. Maybe that's unfair, but definitely shifted those character designs a bit for the rebuild movies, and it is heavily special effected. A lot of post processing in those rebuild movies, from what I can tell. I would love to see a comparison of like the studios working, like, the folks actually animating on Evangelion in 1994, and the ones working at Studio Kara on the rebuild movies over the past few years, and just contrast those production processes. Ray, when you were interesting, so what was it about Ray that attracted you, Spin, so to speak, or yeah, character arc? Fair enough. Yeah, I can see that. I love Mari Illustrious. I love her character. Again, I've only seen 1 and 2, but I really appreciate having a character who is energetic and upbeat and kind of enjoying her time. I think it's a very refreshing perspective in the show, and it really lightens the show overall in a way that I think doesn't withdraw from the heavier psychological aspects of the show. I think having a character who's just like, we get to fight in a giant robot, isn't that awesome, is a welcome perspective on things. And again, there's, it's, you often want characters that have a certain element of audience perspective in them, where they are what the audience would, how the audience would react to this thing. Like Shinji is the shy otaku type, and having Mari as a, oh my gosh, this is an amazing opportunity. I think there are definitely fans who see that, and it's one of the I think criticisms of the Eva series is, why are these kids not like really loving the fact they get to do that? Other than Asuka, and Asuka is screwed up, right? Nothing against Asuka, but she's screwed up. So, and yeah, Vader. Evangelion is very much coming of age anime, both in terms of its internal plot structure and in terms of its appeal to its fans. I think for a lot of fans, it's like, this speaks to my coming of age experience. Yeah. And again, I don't think the Japanese cultural ennui was necessarily intentional. Maybe it was, but I think it managed to tap into that. I think it's very much there. I also wonder, to that point, Dai, and again, I haven't seen all the rebuild movies. I also wonder if Asuka didn't become sort of a distraction, if you will, from the plot in the original TV series. I wonder if Eva was meant to be more about Shinji and Rei's relationship and how they sort of evolve, and Asuka was meant to be just kind of the satellite girl, so to speak. The one who bounces in to say, oh, maybe she will, but she definitely won't. But that Asuka got such a fanatic fan base that she kind of took over the show, so to speak. And again, I'm not saying she shouldn't. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I can see why people were into Asuka. But I wonder if for the rebuild movies, that Anno isn't like, let's pull back on that a little bit. Let's make her less dramatic of a character. Who knows? Yeah, Mari's a lot of fun. Again, as that character, I actually got really kind of blasted. I remember in a comment on the Rebuild 2.0 review when I posted that, and somebody saying, you can't have that opinion about Mari Illustrious because you don't know what her personality is like and how she might be damaged. I was like, I just watched a movie, and I watched the elements of that movie, and this is what was presented in that movie. Other things may happen in the future, but I can't withhold my judgment based on what might or might not happen in the future. I have to go based on what's there. And you're right, Spin. Eva is definitely ambitious. Eva combines many different genres into one show in a very impressive way. In the sense that, the comedy does land. the drama does land. The psychology is there, and it's presented in a way that does pull you into the characters, does make you get a sense of what the characters are thinking. Thank you, Pertrice. Yes, I'm very glad. I used to own. I owned the original release of Blam. I loved it that much, but I couldn't get like Volume 4. I think got out of print. And then the Master Edition came out, and like I snapped those up as they came out. And the original release was much smaller. And boy, Tomonihei's artwork really benefits from the large scale, and I'll show you all what I mean. Let's try something from further in, hopefully give you a better idea. Try to do something that's a little less grotesque. Get some nice images of some of the, so, seeing some of this megastructure in a nice big page really helps. Like, imagine seeing that in 6x9 or whatever it is. Blam is it's a manga. There was an attempt at a TV series that was turned into basically a half-hour OVA. And then there was a Netflix CGI movie, which I personally think does an effective job at presenting the tone of that series, but it's basically a side story. You will not get any of the plot of Blam from that, but again, it's like 6 thick volumes of stuff. So I think they were kind of smart in saying, we're just going to have a little side story here with the main character, but not like, here's the plot. But you get a really good sense of what Blam feels like. And so I don't believe there was anything more, but I may be wrong. There's let me just double check. There was the O&A, which is basically 6 minutes, for 6-minute episodes. And there's another O&A which is 8 minutes, Blam Prologue in 2007, and then the film 2017. I think it has been adapted into a TV series given its popularity, partly because it's actually fairly experimental. And it has basically just 2 characters in this very stark world, and it's not as commercially obviously successful as a lot of other things. It doesn't have that obvious appeal of some other other properties, big colorful shows. It's also very monochromatic. Obviously it doesn't have to be, but it is this very stark setting. So I think it's going to be hard to kind of merchandise. It's hard to sell to the general populace compared to lots of stuff. Also very gory. Patrice is absolutely correct. And a lot of body horror. Serial Experiments Blam. So a lot of weird creatures with sort of limbs growing out of them and stuff like that. So it would have to be fairly mature. And so it's like a lot of those, like hard R-rated things where it's just hard and barely any dialogue. You're absolutely right. It feels like a tone poem a lot of times. So, it's just not going to have that big appeal. Which doesn't mean they can't make it. It's just, you would have to get just the right financiers. But the average person, financing one piece is going to look at that and go, nah. That's actually a really good point, Patrice, as well. Like, when you don't have a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of just like walking through this mega structure, and a lot of like these action sequences with not a lot of dialogue, you're really dependent on your animation and that visual storytelling. You have to have an excellent staff to pull that off, because you're not reliant on those other things. And like those character designs have to be pretty darn consistent because you're looking at them a lot. So yeah, it's a tough one. Again, not insurmountable, but I think it's just not as commercial as a lot of these other, a Moe series about cute girls making jokes, right? It's just one of those things. But I would love to see that. Anyone know what's going on with Pluto? Speaking of, I'll look it up on ANN real quick. Um, Wondering if there's any new news. Ooh, my computer's unhappy. Why is my computer unhappy? What's going on? Oh, it's just the mouse. We're fine. Worried for a minute. Pluto. Pluto TV. I just see the 2017 announcement that there's a Pluto anime coming, but nothing more. Yeah, at Genko's booth at Annecy in 2017, they had a poster for an adaptation of Pluto. And Studio M2, who did Onihei, is doing it, and will be produced by Masa Maruyama. So, fingers crossed for that. What do you think about Char Aznavour's character? That's a very big question. I think Char Aznavour is one of the most complex characters of that sort of early golden age of anime, 70s, 80s, when anime was really sort of starting to fire on all cylinders. Because Char he's a multidimensional character. He has multiple things he's trying to achieve, multiple different beliefs he has that he juggles. He's willing to kill for his beliefs, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't try to. He switches loyalties, and there's just a lot going on with Char Aznavour. But but there's only so much you can do with Char Aznavour. He has a particular role to fill in his universe, and he fills that over the course of that story. So, and unfortunately, he's very much tied to the Universal Century, right? Like there's this plot arc he goes through on the Universal Century, and that's him. But when you go back and you watch it, especially original Gundam, and then like Char's Counterattack, and also like some of the stuff in Zeta, you do see this complex, conflicted character. You didn't see a lot of, and I think it's really, really, it was really impressive what they did with Char Aznavour. But he's also kind of a trapped man. He's a very much a flawed character. It actually gets to an interesting situation sort of with the general concept of these sorts of characters. Char isn't meant to have a lot of different things to do in his universe. He has this role to fill. And he's also not a nice guy. He can be. But he's not like a hero in the classic sense. He can be heroic. And he is heroic at times. But he's also kind of an anti-hero at other times. So he's not a character that the average writer is going to allow to win a lot of the times. So it's kind of a weird, he doesn't have the universal, like, I will live forever kind of element in the sense of other anime characters, like the Major from Ghost in the Shell, right? Where you can tell so many stories with the Major. You can tell so many stories with some of these other characters, but Char is really built for kind of these certain stories he's in. Yeah, I hear that. I have not seen Ghost Slayers Hayashi, but I've heard very good things. Scrolling back up, dropped sort of on SAC, excuse me, for the fourth time. Zenlong Complex. Yeah, see, I like both of those things, Ben, just personally. What is the season 2 that you never got and you're still waiting for it? Great question. What is the season 2 I was hoping for and never got? Um, Something leapt to mind, but it's not. It's actually a season 3. I'm trying to think. Well, let me pull up Panelist, which hopefully I'm logged into. Yay. Um, just scroll real quick. I may have one. Um, I think I'll go with that one, and then I'll talk about the other one. Den-O Coil. Den-O Coil, A Coil of Children, which is a near future augmented reality based anime series. And by that I mean the characters in this series use augmented reality. It's a series about children using augmented reality in an ubiquitous sense. And I would love to see more of that show. I think it had a lot of legs. And it has a conclusion. Like, it definitely comes to a finale that is satisfying in its own way. But I was really expecting to see a bit more from that universe. And then what I really wanted a third season of was Quiet Country Cafe, Yokohama Kadashi Kiko. We only got 2 OVAs out of that. They're basically fairly short, and there's quite a bit more manga to adapt. So we got kind of more or less kind of the first half of that, and I would love to see the rest of Quiet Country Cafe adapted. Because there's some great stuff, some great plot things, great universe building things later in that manga, which I have read. And that is something that I would love to see more of. Anything more in here? Yeah, that's what jumps to my mind. Yeah, you don't see any characters similar to Char, partly because you don't see a lot of fully formed adult characters in anime, and by that I mean multi-dimensional, mature adult characters. You get young adults who are kind of just starting out, but not folks doing, who know what they're about, are pursuing their agendas, that kind of stuff. Yeah, season 3 of Haruhi is another one I'm surprised we haven't gotten more of. I mean, I understand, but I figured that would get pushed through. Yeah, Legend of Galactic Heroes definitely has a lot of Gundam inspiration in general, from what I've seen and heard. Yeah, that's a great question, Sebastian. Sebastian, thank you. And hey, long time no see. Scrolling up a little bit more. I'm kind of surprised we didn't get more. We didn't get another Trigun season, but now I know why. Trigun was big in America and a flop in Japan, basically. Hey, game. Yeah, I'm just testing something. I'm actually streaming on both YouTube and Twitch, and trying that out through Restream. So now more folks are here. Actually, how's the stream quality? Because this is a whole new setup I have here, broadcasting to both at the same time, and I'm curious if the video quality is decent. Unfortunately, I don't really have a good way of embedding. Are we still here? We're still here. That's interesting. Try something real quick. So we are on here. Let's try restream chat. Okay. Okay. Does that work? It kind of works. Cool. Let me pop this kind of down here and see what that does. Decent enough. Minor stutters could be you. Quality is good. Cool. Yeah, I'm actually having some weird internet issues at the moment, which could just be it's in the evening on a weekend, and so everybody's on Netflix. Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Spin. That Char clones have become a standard thing in Gundam, partly because again that archetype works really well in a Gundam style universe. The driven adult who has their own agenda. Works really, really well. Glad to hear that, Patrice. Yeah, YKK is, I don't really have favorites, but it is definitely for me up there for an anime, for a manga that just blows my mind. Read that fan subbed. I have some weird manga here. Speaking of unusual, do I still have, let me see if I can find. There's one manga that I'm sure I still have because it's just so shocking. One second. Yeah. Is this the one? Yeah. So this is a manga called Wandering Island. You can kind of see the appeal, if you will. It's definitely a seinen manga in general. It's about a girl pilot, teen girl pilot. You can see very, very lovely artwork. There we go. And she's on one of the remote islands in. Here's a little better images of the general artwork. And obviously stuff happens, and she wears a black bikini a lot of the time. And so I found this, and at one point at my local used bookstore, I found this, which I may have shown on the Weekly Dig at some point, which was Wandering Emanon, which is the Japanese title, and it's it's definitely the manga, and it's definitely in English, but it's in hardback. I was like, how? Hold on. Nice, we could chat. I was like, that's weird. There was a hardback version of this released in English, and then I opened the front, and it's also flopped. I opened the front. I opened the back. You guys see what I'm not seeing? This, I think, was custom printed. Somebody went to like Lulu and made and ordered a custom hardback of a scanlation of this manga. And then it ended up at my local used bookstore. Because there's no front matter, no back matter. There's just a little message at the back about CPSIA and ICGtesting.com, which appears to be something to do with the paper. Yeah, it's weird. I have a self-printed manga scanlation of this in hardcover for like $5 on that. YKK is a Yokohama Kadashi Gigo. Yes, thank you. Quiet Country Cafe. Beautiful, sort of post-apocalyptic. Not post-apocalyptic. It's set in the far future where mankind is slowly dying out, not through any apocalypse, but because just humanity is slowly dying out. Like it's our time is passing as a species, and just genetically, we're dying out. And so there's just very few people around, and it's sort of this quiet area of the country where there's only a few people, and the main character lives and works in this cafe. It's just a very quiet, rural, living out in the quiet, rural environment. Really, really interesting thing. Oh, I like that there. We'll keep it there. Read more Monster. Another Monster. Interesting. Didn't know that there was a spin-off of Monster. Monster is one of the anime I've never gotten into. People keep telling me, you would love this. And I am sure they are correct. But I just have not gotten to it yet. Another question is, so first off, can I switch that over to the other camera to play around a little bit? Wow, that's weird. Interesting. This is a normal camera for the show. And obviously it takes a little while for it to figure itself out, so that video is a little bit of, ooh, that's bizarre. And it'll crop me out when we actually do the live show. Not great for this, so let's switch back to the other camera. There we go. That's much better. I am not German. I'm American. From the shallow south. Like just south of the old Mason-Dixon line. So I have a little bit of southern drawl in me sometimes. But that's about it in terms of like that kind of clear thing. But yeah, lived in America all my life. Kind of funny how that works. Kokoro Connect, yeah. Cool. That Apollo song is your Akira collection. It is indeed. That is Apollo song. What a weird manga. Apollo song. Which is an Osamu Tezuka really weird kind of a story about weird creepiness. I don't know how you can see that. Because there's, my Akira is like off camera. Interesting. Yeah, that was really fun. I appreciate that, Gorilla Monsoon, and hello. Good to see you. Long time no see. I've kind of moved, I'm in a different phase with cooking. I still cook, I still bake, but I'm into simplicity now. Into skills and techniques. But I wouldn't mind doing some more cooking stuff. It just takes a little bit more setup, a little bit more prep. Yeah, RIP to the godfather of manga. I now get a little, I now find it just really interesting, now that there's more information about the manga before Tezuka, I find it really interesting how his legacy has changed as well. Where we now know that there was manga before Tezuka. And just seeing some of his inspirations come out now has been really helpful. To see that he was part of this continuum, and definitely the godfather of manga. It kind of built things up. Yeah, totally Gorilla. A lot of fun hanging out during the cooking streams. I could cook something now. It's 10 a.m. my time, so I'm fairly close to bed. What could I cook? I could do cookies real quick. I could make, what could I make? I could do popcorn. Caramel popcorn? Caramel popcorn sounds kind of fun. Doesn't take long. Oh, no, it does take long because I have to put it. It takes like an hour. What else could I make out of nowhere? Pulling things out of my other places. Something simple. Again, I could do some simple like shortbread cookies. I don't really have any. Ooh, 1 second. So I got like this snack box from work, and it included some like random candies. And I'm wondering if any of these will. And it's all taffy. Yeah, there's nothing really I can do with taffy, and some Skittles. Phoenix is amazing. Phoenix is one of the greatest works of manga of all time. I would put Buddha up next to it at the very least. Buddha might outrank Phoenix. But that's just a close call. What would be a fun thing to throw together? Again, cookies would not be hard. Let me just look at what I got here. How hard would it be to move this out? I would probably need to shift the table. Yeah, Phoenix is remarkable. It definitely it's definitely a little hard to read because of how disjointed it is at times, where it kind of jumps from story to story to story. But man, it will blow you away, and then re-blow you away, and then blow you away again in a completely different way. Whereas Buddha is more of a one long story, very consistent all the way through in terms of what it's focusing on. Obviously, the Buddha. But yeah, I'd almost like to cook in here. I could just pull a table over and combine stuff. Let me try something. I'm not outputting anything, so I can just put this. I don't have to listen to this. Let me try something real quick. What I could do. And that goes there, which I actually don't want it to, but I can unplug that. And then pull that out. Yeah. Here's a table. Pull closer. Yeah, let's do it. Plug this in. That should work. Yeah, it works. Easy enough. Let's see. Let's see how hard it is to make cookies just in a room. So, there, and then okay, so I'll be going in and out of here, obviously. Let's do something. I'm gonna change this a little bit. There we go. Slightly better lighting. Yeah, going with a 3D printer. Yeah, 3D printer is not great for food, sadly. So, a simple shortbread is, excuse me, equal parts by weight. Fat, flour, and sugar, if I recall correctly. Is that correct? No. That's not shortbread cookie. Sorry, that is like a soft cookie dough. Shortbread is actually 1 part fat to half a part sugar to, yeah. 1 part sugar, 2 parts fat, 3 parts flour. There we go. I had to get it in a second. So 1 part sugar, 2 part butter or fat, 3 parts flour. A stick of butter, American butter, is 4 ounces. I need half that much sugar and half again more that much flour. So 4 ounces, 2 ounces, 6 ounces, boom, done. Again, it seems a little complicated, but that's the basic idea. So however much you have of this, have it for your sugar. However much of this, add 50% for the flour. So the thing is, this is cold, so I'm going to pop it in the microwave for like 10 seconds. Or maybe actually 15.
So just enough to make it closer to room temperature. And I'm going to put that on my scale, set it to ounces. Put the butter in, now that it's again closer to room temperature. Then I'll add my 2 ounces, nice and buttery, 2 ounces of sugar, and I'm almost done with this bag, which is why I have the extra bag of sugar. But this might be 2 ounces here. That is 1 ounce. Ooh, 2 ounces, actually a bit more. Cool. And then we're going to do it. Oops. And mix those together. This is fun. Julia Child, I am not. Ooh. So here's the question for the chat. I have some vanilla extract, and I have some strawberry extract. Should we make vanilla flavored shortbread cookies, or should we make strawberry flavored shortbread cookies? I wonder, can I do a poll from here?
I don't know that I can. The name of the anime I will put in chat: Quiet Country Cafe, Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko. One vote for strawberry. I'm going to add some salt to this, just like a pinch, and maybe an extra pinch. Pull this out. Now, if I wanted to soften these out, make them less shortbready, I could add an egg. I could have used brown sugar instead of white sugar, or not a whole egg, but some egg. 2 strawberries, 1 vanilla. So I'll go ahead and, well, let's see here. Anything else? Oh, cool, Rock Band. Living in Yokohama now. All right, I saw 2 strawberries, 1 vanilla. I'm going to go strawberry. Also, frankly, I'm almost out of the strawberry, so this is a good chance to use it. In fact, yep, still smells good. Let me just double check there. The sell-by date on this is October 2017, but it smells of strawberry. So, heck. I'll need to scrape this down so you can see what we're getting in terms of that lovely pink color. Let me get something here. And as you can see, let's see here. This is why you scrape it down, because it gets a bunch on the bottom, but none on the sides. So you kind of need to give it some hand. And there's also not much dough here. Obviously, I'll add the flour here in a second. But this does not create a huge batch, which actually I like a lot. I often don't need
one of these giant batches of like 30 cookies. So we'll just mix that in. Cool. And then again, we had 2 ounces of sugar, 4 ounces of flour, so 6 ounces. Oh, sorry, 4 ounces of butter, 6 ounces of flour. And there we go. Yeah, Yokohama Kadashi Kiko is unbelievable. In just its like the beauty of the art style, the setting being very much this this very relaxed, end of humanity. There's a little bit of kind of etchiness. There's some nudity here and there, but it feels kind of artsy. It feels, it doesn't feel too exploitative. Start low, otherwise flour goes everywhere. And then let that combine. Hello, Ned Emilio. Welcome. Yeah, well-aged strawberry. I'm gonna scrape that down. And it should form a pretty stiff dough, like a pie dough, or even thicker than that. It's actually surprisingly crumbly. It's coming together. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's now looking almost like clumpy sand. And now it's forming like a dough. There we go. There we go. We now have a dough. Okay. And that's what we're looking at. So now, we move some stuff out of the way because that's nice. To not have stuff everywhere. And I'll grab a cookie sheet. Now I'm actually going to cook this in my air fryer, or bake in my air fryer. I have like an air fryer that's like the shape of a microwave, so that's kind of ideal. And here's a question for folks: recommendations on on baking scenes in anime. I'm using a cookie scoop, just because it's convenient. I'm going to take out 1 scoop's worth, put it down there. That definitely smells of strawberry. I'm not quite done with these yet, I'm just getting the scoops out. Oh, that's fine. Looks like ice cream. But it's not. So now I'm going to take those and just roll them up and just kind of squish them out like that. Now these are not going to expand much in baking. There's no, no. If there's no baking soda in this, they're not going to rise. They're not cakes. They're going to be just a nice dense shortbread. I would like to add some kind of decoration to the top. And I'm thinking about that right now. I don't have a great answer. I might just throw, in fact, and I can do more than these, because again, they're not really going to rise in the, they'll rise a bit. But not, like, not significantly. It shouldn't. Yeah, if you can bake in your air fryer, you can technically make cookies in it. Let me look for some kind of instrument. What happened to my knife? Did I use my knife out here anywhere? Is my knife in use? I need a knife. Where's my knife? Must have used a knife or something. So I was going to take a knife and just cut like a couple of slices in these. I don't know why. Just to add something to them. Again, I'm just looking for some visual interest here. There we go. You want to go fairly deep because as these bake, they will kind of reseal these gashes. And we'll see what this turns out into. So here's what I've done. Kind of see that. Some cuts in the top of these. And I'm going to put these in the oven. They're air fryer. Hold on. Wait a sec. And now we're going to set a timer for 8 minutes, maybe? 8 minutes. And we will check it on those at that point. Meanwhile, there's still some dough left. I'm going to throw that in the refrigerator just to keep it cold. Chilling your dough. Oh, there it is. There's a knife right there. I brought it in here for something and never used it. That's funny. Okay. Why did I bring that knife in for? I don't know. Anyway. So yeah, so I will grab those and I'll check on them in 8 minutes and we'll see what happens there. Those should be some simple strawberry cookies. We'll see what happens. I have not watched the Rebuild movies yet, Brendan. Well, I've watched 1 and 2. But I've not watched 3.0, 1.0, or 3.0. I will soon, though. For the Weekly Dig, after we're done with Lane and OnCon next week, our next aim is to watch and analyze the Rebuild movies, which I'm very much looking forward to. I have liked what I have seen of the Rebuild movies. But also, you know, I don't have a lot of ego caught up in the Evangelion movies, right? I'm not, you know, this obsessed fans people are. I'm not, you know, obviously, I'm not saying it's bad to like Evangelion or care about the Rebuild movies, or that everyone's an obsessed fan. But I don't have that, oh my gosh, you know, this must be exactly what I want. Same thing for mentioning that Wicked one, Bebop live action. I have zero expectations going into that. And I don't mean that negatively. I mean, the Bebop live action series is going to be whatever it is. I don't need that to match up to the Bebop series. I'm looking forward to seeing what Yoko Kanno's soundtrack is like. And I'm looking forward, frankly, to a
bounty hunter sci-fi series. I'm looking forward to just checking that out. I don't think it's gonna feel like the Bebop anime. I don't think it can. I don't think you can capture that in live action the way fans generally want to or expect it to. Because just those are fairly stylized characters, and it's actually a very visually stylized show. It's actually fairly flat color-wise. Again, very intentionally, but I think you're gonna have to kind of get used to that. But I'm looking forward to it. It feels like I'm looking forward to it in the sense that I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, not that it has to conform to my expectations. I've not seen the new Gundam movie. I actually want to go back and start going through the Gundam series I haven't watched. I want to finish Age. I want to watch Reconquista. I want to watch Iron Blooded Orphans. A lot of those shows that I started but just never finished. Not because I didn't like them. It just I was in a time in my life when I was starting stuff and not stopping stuff, not finishing stuff. And now that I'm starting to finish things again, I want to do that. So I'd like to go back and do that and then come back to these. Not that I would have to, but back when I was getting into Gundam, once I got through Wing and went back, I went through more or less chronologically to watch original Gundam, Zeta, Double Zeta, so forth and so on, as I recall. And that was a really effective way of getting a sense of the universe. So I'd like to again go back and kind of watch it in release order, if you will. So maybe a little while before I get to that. Maybe not. We'll see. This is taking a long time to update, which I find very interesting. Oops. Oh, is it? That's interesting. Okay, so we've got a thing going on here. Okay, let's try that. Is that better? We'll have to see. Fair enough, Colin. Again, just kind of not my take on that, but that is very much a unique thing. Everyone has their favorites. It's been very interesting talking to John and Steve actually about Lane 13 and seeing all of their takes on it. And I'm looking forward to us talking about that on Saturday because there's I think we're going to have some different perspectives on that final episode, which is good. Yeah, Paranoia Agent, oddly, I think, is fairly easy to adapt to live action because where it gets weird, it's weird in a way that is still easy to film, right? It doesn't, it's not wild the way Paprika is, for example, in its animation. I think that definitely helps. I should also see. Okay. Oh, that's actually helpful as well. Yeah, I watched the first of the recent Space Battleship Yamato live action movies, and really liked what they did there. Where it did feel like a big live action version of Yamato, which worked nicely. And I really like how they changed the robot and kind of merged. I really like the new Doctor. The remake of the Doctor, the rework of the Doctor, I think worked really, really well. She's hilarious. But yeah, Yamato's a weird series, and it had production issues. They just changed things partway through. We saw a really cool figurine at Otakon, which was the Yamato blasting out of like the lake in the final episode, or the big climax when they're on, was it Gamelos, and they're going out and they're just destroying the base. And it was a model of like that entire scene, which was amazing. And again, about this big is this whole scenario, all built out in that, and that was gorgeous. About half a minute to go on the cookies, and I can smell some cookies. They're in there at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, by the way, which is, if I recall correctly, I do not recall correctly, which is about 175 Celsius, and is a very standard baking temperature. Air fryer is usually faster than the oven, yes, and I'll explain why in a second. I'm gonna give it like an extra 30 seconds. It is faster, an air fryer is faster than an oven because ovens are very large. There's a lot of air circulating in them. Air fryers are small, and so that air and all of that temperature, so to speak, is all concentrated in one space. So you're not circulating a bunch of air. You're not waiting for that air to heat up. It's not doing strange things. It's kind of heating up and cooling down and so forth. So you have this very controlled, specific space. It stays at one temperature the entire time. Thank you, the Wicked One. Death Note was your last completion. Can you recommend anything similar that's new? So my typical recommendations for an anime that is similar to Death Note would be Boogie Pop Phantom, which is actually it's actually a little older than Death Note. Also, Paranoia Agent, as we've been talking, psychological suspense. Paranoia Agent definitely fits the bill. That is about it's actually a variety of different stories, all connected by one central story. 1 second while I pull those cookies out. So this is going to go down here. And this is going to go out here. 1 second. And here are our strawberry cookies. As you can see, we have a nice, they actually opened up rather nicely. So I'm going to actually slide those, if I can, off the sheet. There we go. And I'm going to put this sheet back in there to cool down, because this is wood, and I don't want to put something really hot on wood for obvious reasons. And so once that pan is cooled down, we'll put the rest of the cookies on there. Great question, the Wicked One. Boogie Pop Phantom, weird name. Paranoia Agent. I'm pulling up my anime list now. Well, actually, analyst.co. Focus. Focus on me. Hello, camera. See me. Hello. There we go. Still. Focus. Focus. There we go. Honestly, there hasn't been a lot of psychological anime on TV of late. There was one like last season that people did not like the ending to, so I can't recommend it until I've seen it. I've only seen episode 1. Otherwise, more recent psychological anime like TV series that are like Death Note. And kind of dark, gritty, grimy, right? Yeah, nothing's really leaping to mind, frankly, other than those two. I've seen some of Initial D. Not my thing, sadly. Yeah, I mean, we've tended to have more uh, light, upbeat Moe series of late. That's just what's been succeeding. And obviously the isekai, jump to another world stories, which tend to be more upbeat, more, I'm going to save the world. Scrolling through all my Gundam on the list. Anything else sort of psychological, like really psychological, and again sort of dark? Nothing sort of jumps to mind that I've seen. Cyberpunk with the GPX. I am searching that now. GPX Cyberpunk. I have not, but I've heard fun things about it. It was directed by the guy who directed Gundam Seed. I think just before he did Seed, basically. And I love Seed. So, perhaps someday. Specific place in Japan I want to visit. Many. There are many, many, many places in Japan I want to visit. Oh, that explains it. Okay, hold on. I was worried about the size of this because of... I wasn't seeing the bottom, but it's actually flipped. So, can I do something like this? I'm going to try something different. Oh, that's not what I wanted. How does that work? Give that a try. Throw that over there. Cool. Code Geass. Okay, yep, Code Geass, I can see that. It's mecha. It's, so be aware of that. But yeah, I can see it. And I have not seen much of Code Geass, so I sort of can't comment on that, but that tracks with what I've seen of Code Geass. I mean, you could also do potentially Puella Magi Madoka Magica, which is a magical girl series that gets very dark very quickly. That's not a spoiler. And so it's sort of it's a dark magical girl series, basically. Kind of riffing on Magical Girl. Skimming back through other stuff, all the Tenchi. Technolize. Very much Technolize. Which came out a little after Technolize, a little after Death Note, as I recall. Very dark, science fiction, people in a sort of dystopia, trying to fight back against the system and not succeeding very well, basically. Actually, no, things do happen. It's not just, we completely fail. But that's dark. That has one of the darkest endings I've ever seen anything ever. Yeah, that's what leaps to mind so far. All cool stuff. Yeah, no, I hear you, Dai. And yeah, Technolize is very intense. That ending is traumatic. I would say the final image of, and actually the whole final episode of Technolize is very tough. One important thing about cookies, by the way, as they cool, they're actually still chemically changing. They're actually kind of thickening up and hardening, if you will. So don't try to eat cookies right off of the cookie sheet. They will fall apart. They need some time to actually pull together. I am actually not looking forward to games because I am playing one game constantly and loving it, and that is consuming my entire thought and all of my attention. And so I'm just looking forward to more of that game and playing that game for years. And that game is Genshin Impact. Because, oh my gosh, they just released Japan, like fantasy Edo era Ghibli Japan, and it is mind-blowingly gorgeous and fantastic and just, love it. Love it. Cool.
So this is chilled. I still want to use some of this, so I'm going to actually grab the other sheet that I use, although it's very small. But I think that's fine. I don't have any cookies. And yeah, that should be fine. I think we'll only have like 4 here, maybe 4 or 5. But I'm weird like that. I'm not big on like playing all the games. I would like to get back and play Horizon Zero Dawn one of these days. I got partway into that and was realized I needed to pay attention to it. It is not a game I can just hop in and out of. Yeah, 4 cookies. Look at that. And it never went back, sadly. So just rolling these and flattening them into cookies. And you can see those barely, got any bigger. Psychonauts 2, cool. Yeah, what games are you guys into? What are some of your favorites? I've heard good things about Psychonauts 2. I never played the original, so I can't sort of say, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to XYZ. But I've heard really good things about both, obviously. And again, just slicing. A little uneven on this one. That's fine. So there are those slices. There we go. And in they go. We will reset the timer. 8 minutes. That seemed about right. And again, we have fewer cookies in there, so they may cook more. Chivalry 2, heard good things. The new Gungrave game, I assume they will. I assume that's just something that's been sort of delayed or slow or something. I'm not sure. Thanks, Vader Joan. We'll see. I'm still waiting for those to finish cooling off. We'll see how that worked out. It Ghost of Tsushima, that's another game, anime. Another game that I started and was like, I'm going to need to focus on this one. Let me come back to that when I can actually focus. Project Sylphid and Phantasy Star Online 2, nice. I love the visual style of Phantasy Star Online 2. That is definitely my jam visually. I wonder if we could, so when I do my video game thing, that is that video game window capture, display capture, so we could just do that. We could do that. Should we do that? Why not? Let's have a little fun here. I'm going to show you guys something. Hopefully this will work. Ooh. That's interesting. Right, because of the screen size. Hold on. One moment while I figure this out. And this will go there. Oh, actually, this might work out kind of nicely. So we'll make that there. This will go like this. And then I will do that. In a really weird font. I will click this button. Why are we only seeing part? Hold on. Okay. I'm going to see if I can show you guys some Genshin. Because, oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. 0, 0, 0.
those, and then we just need to squeeze that down a bit so it'll fit. Okay, and then that will have to squeeze down a bit. Cool, I think this will work. Let me see if this works. That seems to be working. Let me know. Oops, that didn't work. There we go. You all should be seeing Genshin Impact, and I'll turn on the audio so you all can hear it. There's no audio right now. Oh, there we go. That's very loud on my end. How is it on your guys' end? I will see what's coming in. I couldn't quite monitor as we were going. That might just be my end. That's pretty loud. Ooh, it is not like this. Alright, so it's not too thrilled about doing these at the same time. But yeah, this is what this game looks like. If you haven't seen it before, this is Genshin Impact. And it's just kind of nuts how much this just feels like Japan. But again, like a fantasy Japan. Let me jump over to someplace a little more visual. Sounds good, cool. Like, you're in a Ghibli movie, basically. It's kind of amazing. Oh, and there's the dog. Hello, dog. Happy dog. I'll collect some of these things. Or we could go, say, up to a shrine. Like, I can't visit Japan right now, and I'll answer that question here in a second about where I'd like to go. But I could just go to a shrine here. Talk to the merchant. Like, holy smokes. Right? It's just mind-blowing what this game looks like. Or you could go to a place like, say, Amakumo Village, or Amakumo. And, you know, explore a place like this. Like, these are all places you can go in this game and explore and find stuff and kill things, all that good stuff. Let me show you some combat here. It's obviously action RPG-ish. Are these gonna activate? Let's find out. Yep. Oops. Whoa! Didn't mean to do that. Yeah. Get out of it. Okay. Going over to you then. Take you out a little bit. Oh! Ah! Not great. Try and get you down a bit. Oh! Saw him coming in. Ah! See, I didn't dodge out of the way.
Yeah, there we go. Or I'll just go and...
My apologies.
There we go. Getting some Hu Tao action. There we go. Yeah, almost got you, almost got you. There we go. So again, very action RPG combat. This is Hu Tao, the director of the Wangshen Funeral Parlor. Oops. I have cookies. 1 second. Ah, I'm knocking over things.
Toodaloo.
Ow. Ow. Ow, these are hot. Ow. Ow. There we go. Ow. Ow.
1 client, 2 clients,
Ow.
3 clients.
And this is just, you know, the Japanese area of the game. You could also go to, say, you know, I mean, let's just, you know, let's just go to China and explore China for a bit and walk around Liyue Harbor.
With the wind.
Like, this is the game. It's kind of mind-blowing, and it's free. It is a completely free game. And obviously you can, you know, pay for cosmetics and pay for attempts to get characters, but all that stuff comes free as well. You play through. And in case you're wondering, yeah, there are a lot of characters you can get. There's Yan Fei. Lisa, the spellcaster. Diluc. You want your classic pretty boy. Barbara, the idol, shown here in her swimsuit. Shanling, the chef. Noelle, the battle maid, who is just hilarious for being, you know, a battle maid. Like, it's just straight up a battle maid right there. Diona, the cat girl. Loli. Fischl. Zhongli, who's pretty darn awesome. Just got Kujo Sara today. Like, come on. Come on! Jean, acting Grandmaster of the Knights of Favonius. Beto, pirate captain, who likes to drink. And of course, they all have their weapons. It's pretty awesome. Anyway. Yeah, this is my jam. We'll transition back.
imagine a game like that just really, really appeals to me. Hey, Evie. Good to see you. So yeah, I'm still streaming pretty consistently now, every week, with videos coming out every so often, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Just not streaming on Fridays as I used to, streaming on Saturdays, generally speaking. But yeah, I've been going for a while here. I think that will sort of do it for now for tonight. I'm glad this is working. That's awesome. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do this like an actual preset video stream thing. So like on YouTube, like do an actual planned event. I don't know how to do that. But that's okay. So I may try this next week. We'll see how that works. Or I may try it this week. We'll see. But it's nice having things on multiple places at once. Cool. Yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Appreciate it. This has been a very successful test. Thank you all. And yeah, take care. Hope you guys have a great week. I'll be streaming tomorrow talking about Serial Experiments Lane episode 13 with John and Steve. And then next week I have OnCon, online anime convention happening on YouTube. And should be pretty cool, a lot of fun. So hope to see you all then. Oh, gotta check something. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm just check the cookies. So here's how the cookies turned out. You see those slices turned into a nice little pattern. That's good. Hint of strawberry. Very nice. Takes a little while for the strawberry to come in. Yeah. That's quite nice. Thanks, all. Take care. Have a good one. See you tomorrow, hopefully. Have a week we did. And next week for OnCon, online anime convention. Take care. Have a great week. See y'all.